welcome to today's edition of Velocity Kinetics. I am recording this on the 18th of February 2024. Now, you may ask, why am I giving you the date that I am recording this video? You don't normally do that. Well, it's because what I'm going to talk about, I really just want to be wrong about what I'm saying today. Now, I've been thinking about this video pretty much since Saturday, and some people might go, and you might be sat thinking, wow, a whole 24 hours to think about what you want. How the fuck do you know that? And you know what? I don't fully know. But it's based on the quandary I've been feeling. Now, don't get me wrong, I love my cars. It's why this channel, despite next to no views in real terms in terms of YouTube views, we get nothing really. And as for subscribers, probably mostly friends and family. If I were able to see who it was, it may be away. Frankly, I don't care. But I love my cars. I love talking about them, reading about them, looking at them. I love driving them, hence why we're on a bit of a drive this Sunday afternoon. Because I also, much as I love my two cats, they've been a bit mental today, shall we say politely. They've been chasing around and round and round, and it's just a case of, whoa, I'm fed up of suddenly being target practice. Or at least my feet are fed up of suddenly being target practice. I want to put into the words as best as I can, and there'll probably be very little editing in this video, and I'm going to try and keep it short, well, shorter, because I prefer doing these short videos anyway. But I want to say how I feel about this. Now, yesterday, before we either make some Beatles quotes, Big Puddle, that wasn't a Beatles quote, yesterday all my troubles seemed so far away. Yesterday I went and had a look at an Audi A4, and before people go, oh, you can make better choices, what, you'd be moving away from the Swiss, are you ill? Yeah, I might well be ill, actually. I had a look because I'd seen it, at the time it was either, I think now it was definitely Barry Snedman's Audi that had the offer. But I thought at the time, I thought it was Kings Lynn or Barry Snedman's, and it was they had what I'd seen was an offer on an Audi A4 used 23 plate, pretty much next dem, very low miles, and I thought they may be it might be a good punt, especially as, well, this is going to become topical, what I want to do with Patrick Swayze here, if I want to do anything. Now, the A4 I saw, I sat in it turned out to be an RS4, at least it was an RS line, and it was a bit firm, seats. But then when my brother and I were walking around the used car section, I found the A4 and what turns out to be the A3 saloon. That was big flood. Right, how are we going to do this? And brake check. It turned out to be an Audi A3 saloon that I'd seen, not I confused two. In my defence, the A3 saloon is about the size of what the A4 saloon used to be when I was a child. But we're walking around and saw this really good A4, 23 plate, 4,000 miles, a lot more equipment than what I've got here, so I wouldn't be losing any options. I would be losing the hybrid though, which don't get me wrong, I do like it. I do like being able to cruise around in electric mode. Oh, that's big. Oh, that field's flooded. I do like being able to cruise around in electric only mode. I do like being able to... Holy shit, that's flooded as hell. I do like being able to cruise around in electric only mode. How are we going to do this? It seems the route I've chosen to come out is extra floody. Not my smartest ideas. But the only thing really I'm losing is the hybrid. If I were in a position to buy the Audi, it was 28,000. I'd have to leverage quite a large loan to do it because, well, there's no other way to purchase my car. I don't really want to do PCP again if I could avoid it. Don't get me wrong, I will if I have to. PCP has its merits, but I don't want to if I can avoid it. Pretty much the main thing I'm gaining in the A4, if I were to hit the buy now button, is I'm gaining an electric tailgate. Even though it's a saloon, I don't really understand why a saloon needs an electric tailgate, because it's much lower. But still, saloon with the electric tailgate, and I think that both passenger seats, if they both didn't have some element of the lumbar that was electronically adjustable, the entire seat was electronically adjustable with memory. I believe that is what it was. But like I say, don't 100% quote me on that because I could be wrong. But what's got me thinking of, I only went, like I say, to satisfy my curiosity. I'd never looked at an Audi. I've never thought about driving an Audi. I'd always sort of kind of written it off as just beyond my pocket, shall we say. I just always assumed it was going to be too much of a stretch financially, so I've never looked. Although that said, I've never really been that interested or that bothered in one or with one. I realise I've turned a different way. I probably should have gone a different way now. But yeah, I went looking because I need to know what my options are, because as we sit today in February, in October 2025, I've got to make my balloon payment, which is about £11,000. And whilst that is not insurmountable, I can do what's called a contra loan, so basically refinance an existing loan and borrow more. I have also mentioned another video about the Suffice being a bit of this particular Suffice at least being a bit of a shit magnet, and I'm not sure I want that again. But obviously the next Suffice could be no bother at all. It could be the reverse. But it's got me thinking. Especially with my dad saying he'd finally gone and test drove a Kia Niro, which I'd been recommending him to do for a long time as part of looking at replacing his Ford Kuga. I feel that I've got to make a decision a lot sooner than I actually would care for, and I think that is the position that most UK car buyers are actually in these days. At least those who like to buy new or ex-dem or nearly new. People who like to run shit boxes, the standard thing is, can it get through its MOT? Are the parts going to break the bank? Which is normal. At any time, that is a normal concern, normal thought process, nothing to worry about. But for people like me who prefer to buy new, and that Audi would probably be the only, well, it'd be my first used car at least, or one at least bought deliberately as used. because I think my first Baleno was actually pre-reg, as in it just needed a number plate. They put a number plate on it, and I'd gone home. That's how quickly I got that, the first one. And the second one, actually. But with build times like for the Skoda Nero, good grief, am I having a stroke? For the Skoda Octavia or the Skoda Kamiq, when I spoke to the guy there, because I think the Kamiq might actually be up my dad's street in terms of size. It's similar to the Nero, a bit lower to the ground, but still on an elevated platform, still got a higher roof line, and still got a smaller engine, a bit more economical, and all in all probably would be a good one that will see him into multiple years of service, and I mean well beyond MOT. For some reason he loves to get rid of his cars before as the MOTs start before due. Oh god, that wasn't a smart move on my part there. But yeah, that's has always been his approach. No ifs, no buts, no coconuts. Speed camera signs. I'm sure this has got to drop to a 30 or a 40 somewhere around here. From memory, the last time I was around this neck of the woods. Yeah, there's the 30 sign. Been to B mode, bit of engine brake. But the Kamiq has a year build time, a year wait time. That's if something of the same spec doesn't have an order cancellation and you can pick one up sooner. The Kia Nero's got a 6-month wait time if you're going for the hybrid. It's about 4 months if you're going electric. And it's a similar story around pretty much most manufacturers. Someone on the Suzuki Swiss Owners Forum, granted I don't think he's in the UK, I think he's in Spain, but he put a comment on he's going to have to wait like 3.5 months for his car, which, you know, it's a bit excessive, and I don't disagree with my dad's logic, because when I mentioned how long it would take for him to get a Nero if he was able to splash out on a brand new one, he went, well, in 6 months' time I might have changed my mind. Now, to be honest, I think he was just being facetious with that response, but the logic's not wrong. If I've changed my mind and I want to get rid of my car, I don't want them to be sat there for weeks, months with potentially something I've long decided to get rid of. And now, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, this car's finance is up in October 2025. But if I've got a year build, or a year wait for whatever I want, I've actually only got 6-7 months to make up my mind as to what I want to do. And that's something that a lot of UK car buyers will probably find themselves in a situation of, or at least the ones who do them through PCP or just finance in general. Not that that's, again, not meaning that to sound like a criticism of people who do the cars on finance, because you do what you've got to do, regardless of that's PCP, loan, cash, cheque, you name it. You do you in that situation. Fuck. I knew there was another one coming up fairly quick. It's... It means you haven't necessarily got the luxury of just sitting back and waiting, because if you were nearly at the end of your finance, heck, even 2 or 3 years ago, if you were nearly at the end of your finance, it would just be a case of, I want something new, and then proactively speak to the dealer. That's assuming the dealer hasn't proactively contacted you first to say that they can offer you something better and you've done something well ahead. I'm pretty much only talking about the situation where you wait to the end of your finance and go from there. I think, well, I'd love to blame everything around the current situation the UK car market is in, or at least the new market, not new market that's somewhere over there, the new car market, I would love to lay the entire blame for its current state on the floor of Brexit. That's just what I would love to do in that situation. Realistically, no, I can't blame it on Brexit, because there's a lot of other things going on that, quite frankly, I don't understand. And I will hold my hands up and say, I don't understand. Yes, I don't think Brexit is blame-free within all that. Along Milford, that's a lovely place to go. Kenmore Hall's over there. I went there as a child when I was at school at St Osyth Primary. I think we went in '98. Had to have a Tudor costume made up for yourself. I think I'm going to turn around, because I don't, at least when there's a roundabout to turn around. So the speed limit drop. Go on then, I thought this was still... a 40. Car behind me is getting very impatient. I think it's turned into a 60. Well, he's gonna... I'm just gonna back off and let him by. Must have happened when I wasn't aware of it. But I've seen no sign, and neither has my car's assistance programs picked up that there was a sign. But anyway, Brexit's got something to speak for it, because it's harder to get the cars in. COVID's got something to answer for it, because the stockpile of parts is gone. The semiconductor shortage has got a lot to speak for as well. The banning of the sale, or the upcoming banning of the sale of internal combustion engine vehicles, has got a lot to answer for as well. They don't want to build too many. They want to push people to EVs, and I don't disagree with that thought. I don't disagree with that premise. I do disagree that electric is the only way to go. I agree with Toyota that we've got to go hybrid, and maybe push out the deadline another 10 years or so. But I suppose my quibble with this is, my concern, my worry is, I know for myself, I might make a rash decision as to what I want to do. And during some couples counselling, well, it's fertility counselling, but there is a couples counselling element to it. Sarah has said that I have been, especially around my car, I have been prone to kind of rash decisions. Now, and she meant around this suffice. Now, she said whilst I would have probably still landed at the suffice, so she's not saying I bought completely wrong, that Patrick Swayze was a complete mistake or anything to that nature. She did say that I didn't sit there and think it all through. I could have tried another manufacturer, because really I only tried Skoda and Subaru. I didn't look anywhere else. I didn't try Audi. I could have had an A4 saloon. I could have actually gone and physically looked at that BMW that came up on my Facebook feed in an advert, and gone to Lancaster BMW or Lancashire BMW in Bury St Edmunds, and actually had a look and decided, actually, yes, it's worth buying something that's the same age of what I'm trading in, because it's a ridiculously good car. I know I'm really speaking from my own perspective here, I know, and each to their own. But for me, it's all everything. There's too many moving parts to it at the moment. Now, I know some people would say, because a lot of my argument is founded in, or at least perhaps in my head, a lot of the argument is founded around interest rates and car finance and things like that. And I'm not going to deny that. turn back around because all the rain that's happened today, we nearly need a canoe. I think I just want to get home and, well, one, finish this video off so it's not forever long, but two, it's a couple of roads I've driven down and it's not completely safe to be out, and plus I haven't got all the petrol that I'd like to have. Joys of running on fumes. I feel at the moment it's a massive guessing game as to what you want to do. So for me, for example, this car's on finance. I think if I was to trade it in, I think it would be about 14-ish thousand outstanding, give or take 100 or so. Probably about 14,000 outstanding if I traded it in like now. The ultimate problem is the massive guessing game as to what interest rate I will get with whoever I go with, and whether interest rates are going to go up or down. And my concern is, as I was saying to my brother, I don't want, using that Audi as an example, as in trading this way for that Audi. My concern is I will then be at the top of the market in terms of price. Yes, I'll have gotten the best price ever for the Suffice. I'll have paid over the odds for the Audi. I'll be paying over the odds monthly in terms of loan or PCP for the Audi. I'll be having a huge interest rates compared to if I'd waited. But I'm also very painfully aware, because it's what's happened with mine and Sarah's mortgage, Sarah and my mortgage, should I say. We got our mortgage during that period in 2022, where interest rates suddenly started going up and lots of lenders were pulling mortgages off the market. Our lender didn't do that, and even though we're on 100% mortgage for the shared ownership that we have, in terms of percentages, we're actually right down on the bottom end of the market, more or less. And whilst if I replaced this car now and did it all on a personal loan, and I might be paying a lot of money, this time next year personal loans could have a minimum percentage of 8% rather than 5.9%. And that sucks, because if I were to change, I got the best interest rate with Tesco back when I applied for the loan to put towards the deposit for this and refinance something else. I got, I think it was 2.8% or 3.1%, very, very low interest rate anyway. So even if I got the interest rate that was advertised, I'm still going to be nearly twice the rate that I'm on now. And it's an eternal guessing game of, will that finance be available? Will my situation be that? Will gas and electric bills shoot up that mean I can't even entertain the idea of changing my car? Will they go down so that I've got a little bit more pocket money to do that with? Will council tax just keep going up and up and up? And that's a silly question, because let's be honest, what does council tax do? It only ever goes up. I've never seen it go down in the years I've had to pay council tax. Never. I did attempt to argue they'd banded my house wrong in South Shields, and that all stalled because of COVID. And I just couldn't be asked to deal with it because I was leaving the area. So maybe they've had, South Shields Council, South Tyneside had more money than they should have done, but that's a different story. But I'm just, it's a huge unknown. And then the other thing is, with petrol prices going quite volatile at times, I personally feel a lot of it is electioneering on Rishi Sunak's part. Again, that's going to sound like I should really put a tinfoil helmet on for that. But I do feel that more than once, especially around petrol prices, he's made just a very quick cash grab. Oh, there it is. It's just completely... Just spotted the end of speed limit sign from when we came that way. It's just filthy. I couldn't. You would only know it's there if you drove through it regularly. Some of it, when the prices dropped and people thought an election was coming, it was pure electioneering. And some of the high petrol prices, I personally feel, is purely profiteering. In fact, there've been plenty of well-documented cases and well-researched articles out there that have said, no, it really is just price gouging. It's not anything overly complicated. They're just, you know, and the fact that at least in the UK, petrol prices take forever to follow. They shoot up as soon as they go up, but they don't go down again, which is a bother. I know I've wandered off topic a bit, but I mean, as in, there's so many. The rest of everything else is so volatile price-wise. Your petrol, your food, your council tax, your mortgage rates, just general percentage rates on any other financial products you've got. Mobile phone costs have gone up, and not just Brexit related. It's probably the hardest time to. I would say. I know a lot of people, typically the boomer generation, would say, well, actually, you know, you millennial, you don't work hard enough. You should do this. You should do that. And where, in the words of Dr. Cox. But I shouldn't have to struggle, or shouldn't be nearly having to do. Well, it's wrong to say. It's wrong to exaggerate to say I'm doing physics level maths. I mean, for my limited math skills, it might feel like that some days. But I shouldn't be having to factor into my maths things that are just completely beyond my control. And I don't just mean lifestyle choices, because when I did my food shop the other day, I came out with 2 bags of shopping, and that cost me £88. And if that keeps costing £88, and if that 88 suddenly becomes 98, suddenly, boom, there's £10 a week less that I've got towards any car costs, or car finance, or anything else that's not even car related. Holiday. Some generations recently have had it so unbelievably easy when it comes to cars. They seem to be able to just get the finance, get the lowest rate, boom, boom, boom. They've been able to always buy what they want, get what they want, and not have to wait. That's the other thing that really bothers me. It's like, I might, if I had the money, say, to drop on a car I would quite like, 508 Estate, Peugeot 508 Estate, at least until I drive one to confirm whether I actually do or don't want one. But based on just seeing them around and having sat in one, I would love one. But if there's a 6-month build time, I might have found something else that I want instead. I might suddenly go, actually, I'm no longer anti-SUV. I would like a Honda HR-V instead, for example. Mind you, there's been a lot of rainfall, and I think it's waterlogged all the fields. I don't know, and I don't want to turn this into intergenerational bashing, because that's not going to solve anything. Yeah, we can continue to go, okay, boomer, and be like, lol, okay, millennial, and things like that. I think ultimately what I feel is I should be able to walk into an Audi dealership, a BMW dealership, a Volvo dealership, and go, I would like that, please. But cars have jumped up so much in cost for the base models and used. After I went to Audi on Saturday, I went to Suzuki with my brother, because they've usually got quite a good selection of used cars. They had And I don't know how it is worth this money, not without it being a Swift Sport or anything like that. They had a Suzuki Swift of the generation of my first Swift, which was a 65 plate. In fact, the one they had was 6 months older than that. It was a 15 plate Swift. And the only things it had over my SZ2 that they'd listed, without actually getting into it, had Bluetooth, it had a reversing camera, and it had air conditioning. They wanted £10,500 for it. That's not a £10,500 car. You are trying to tell me, and this is not a Suzuki bash, because all the freaking manufacturers are at it. You're trying to tell me that a nearly 10-year-old Swift, 10-year-old Swift, you're trying to sell that for more or just short of what my first Baleno cost, brand new. Mycroft the First, which was my first Baleno, cost me £11,500. Mycroft the Second was £13,500. The reason for the difference in price is Mycroft the First was done on an offer. Although the monthly payments were quite high because I was in negative equity with the car. Splishy, splashy, sploosh. Yeah. It's sort of okay. I'm conscious that whatever I choose to buy, I'm dude, it's a kick in the fucking nuts. New or used, it's a kick in the fucking nuts as to how much they should be costing. They shouldn't be that expensive. Really shouldn't. But they are, and they're gonna be, and that's where it's gonna stay. Oh, bloody road's falling to pieces there. They're just... I used an example in a... I can't remember which episode it was, but I used an example in a video not that long ago. That when Sarah and I first looked at a Land Rover Discovery Sport, they were about 35, which I realistically, I don't think I could have actually afforded one, even on a personal loan. But then when we went and looked at them a second time, after we'd been to Yorkshire, and this car had struggled, let's be honest, this car had struggled up there. Went and had a look, had a think. Oh, the road's from the bit. Oh! Ow! This car had struggled up there, and it was also bits of were very low, as in some of the curbs were very high. This car was very low. It was not a pleasant experience in many ways. So we went back to have a look and see. They'd shot up to £52,000 at the dealership we were at. And for all that money, a 1 year wait time. Just how? I want to be able to be, unless a manufacturer makes a car that I absolutely love 100% and I could not see myself being without. So if Volvo still made the V70, for example, or the S60 was still available over here, if I bought one, I'd probably never step away from an S60 or a V70, or even a V60 even, actually. I probably would never step away from one. But for the most part, I want to experience different manufacturers. I want to try different brands. But I also want whatever I buy, I want it to be a very long-term purchase. There's sort of something else niggling in the back of my mind with this. Oh, flood. No, that's a burst water main, not a flood. natural flood, should I say. When Sarah and I are obviously wanting a family, and what we want, and whatever car we buy needs to be very family friendly. The number of children she would like. Good Lord. Not a good Lord to the number of children she would like, but that is its own separate conversation. She would like to have 4 children, and she's also told me that twins are quite common in her family. They just seem to miss a generation, and her generation is the generation where, if there's going to be twins, this will be the generation that has them. And every once in a while, when you look back through a family tree, someone's been unfortunate enough to have 2 sets of twins. And not that this is not meaning that to sound as if, well, that's going to happen, it's due to happen. It's a case of it's there historically, it's there genetically. So my concern is if when things finally work, if it suddenly is twins, whether that's because we've had to choose IVF and deliberately choose to have twins implanted, or if things have happened naturally and we've just had twins and it happens twice, suddenly if things do not change, and I really want to be very, very wrong on this, suddenly I might find myself with whatever car I've bought, I might find myself in such a position where I cannot unload the car because of the finance, because of loans, etc. And because things are so expensive these days, just general living costs, I can't save as much as I would love to be saving. Like Sarah and I, at the moment, I'm not going to tell you down to the final hundreds and down to the final pound, but Sarah and I, for just the 2 of us and 2 cats, we should be absolutely rolling in money at the moment. My job has recently done its yearly pay progression, and that should put me on about just over 38,000. And before you cut in with it, no, I'm not buying the North versus South argument completely. There is an element of that, but that is not the entirety of it. I'm on about 38. Sarah's on about 36 before enhancements. I was talking about this to my mum the other day, and I said, I should be able to either save at such a rate when I decide to get rid of this car, if I decide to get rid of this car, that I need a fraction of the amount of financing that I did to buy this car, or any of my other ones. Or we should be able to overpay our mortgage rapidly. We should be able to build up big amounts of savings. We should be able to get credit card debt down to next to nothing. We should be in a far better situation to cope with the unknown surprise. Do you know, that 38 and that 36, they're not 38ing and 36ing like they should. We've been through everything. We've cut back on everything that we can cut back on. Heck, food costs have gone down because whilst I'm under the fluid diet from Addenbrooke's, I get some milkshake. Well, it is milkshake. There's no other way to describe it. But I get 40-sip shakes on prescription. So that's part of the food bill dealt with there. And things just aren't lining up. And that's for people on a good wage. Never mind someone who's on below the national average. Never mind someone who's on 25 or 20, because I can tell you this, 20 and 25,000 are not 20 or 25,000ing like they used to. And bringing that all back round to cars, not that it's a bad thing for someone to drive a used car or anything of that nature, far, far from it, because there are some fantastic deals out there, and if you've got a love for a certain brand or a certain model, then you can only ever buy used. My concern is that people will find themselves hemmed in. People won't be able to buy what they want. And you could even make a loose argument bringing family and children into it. You could even argue that because it's so hard to change your car and so expensive, that you can't buy the sort of family car that you'd like to buy because they're so expensive that you can't afford to have the children you'd like to have to buy the family car. A very loose argument, I know, but the logic is not. It's not completely flawed logic, and I don't know, but it's something that's going to face most UK car buyers in the immediate future, if it isn't already. And I suppose if I break down and re-break down, and maybe break down again, what I'm trying to drive at, it's a case of buying a car is already a complex enough, fiddly enough, pain in the arse enough, even for people who love cars, process. And with everything that's going on, with all those layers, all the clusterfuck, whatever you want to call it, it's a far more complicated process. It's a far bigger clusterfuck. It's a far more daunting process. I'm sorry that this video has been a massive rant and I've wandered off point, and I'm wandered off point massively. My apologies about the video randomly cutting off whilst I was sat in the car. Battery died on the camera. Although, to be honest, if I remember what I then started going on about afterwards, it was probably about another 15-minute tangent from where we are, and we're already, 35-40 minutes in to this video, because of a lot of wandering thoughts. But I hope you understand the point I am driving at here. I hope you understand that I feel, and I think a lot of people who are looking to buy a car will feel very similar on this subject. I feel that the odds are constantly being stacked against us, even more so than they have been before. It's a very severe case of costs going up of cars and just general day-to-day life. So then choice is limited, regardless of whether you're talking about going internal combustion or whether you're talking about going electric. Choice for what we want is very limited. Sorry, my cat is doing something. What is he doing down there? Okay, he's got a bird toy that he hasn't played with for about 8 months, and he's now just suddenly decided now is the time to start playing with it. Anyway, the whole point that I'm trying to get at is long build times, massive costs compared to what they have been in the past. Suddenly things aren't as easy now, and then regardless of what your personal circumstances may be, what the future circumstances may be, whether that's your known knowns, your unknown knowns, your known unknowns, or your unknown unknowns, or Jeff, it's really hard to know what to do, what's going to be the right thing to do, what you should be doing next, who you should be going to buy a car from next, whether you should even be buying at all, what finance you should take, if you should take any finance. It's just so... It's information underload and overload all at once. And for me, it's such a weird sensation that I've got so much information about what I can do and so little information about what I can do. And regardless of if I could clone myself and talk to myself about what I should and shouldn't do, it's not going to solve anything. And I'm so fed up and frustrated with it, and it seems like the common person will bear the brunt of it again, as is anything car related. This is why I said at the start of the video, I hope I'm wrong. I'm hoping that I've gone on this big rant, gone on to kind of cathartic for me, and maybe voicing concerns other people have got. but I really want to be wrong. I want things to go back to being, oh yeah, it's only a few weeks for your car to turn up, not months or bordering into a year. Technically it's many months, but still. I want it to be able to go back to good supply of used, good supply of new. I want it to go back to things being priced as they should. And what sort of really got me is looking at that Audi, it's a good value for what it is. But I know not that long ago it would have been even cheaper, and then even more so when I looked at that Suzuki with my brother. Not that long ago when I first looked at them with him, granted a few years ago now, they're only about 6-7 grand. Now that's wanting 10. It's a massive case of what the hell should we do? No idea. But I know what I do have to do now is I have to do dinner. Oh well. Food for thought, talking of food, time to do dinner. Thank you very much for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. Give us a like on Facebook. Give us, if you're feeling generous, give us a one-off donation through PayPal, paypal.me/velocitykinetics, and buy me a cup of coffee link coming soon.